For those of you who have used Microsoft Excel before, the first thing you'll notice when you open up Excel is that Microsoft has done away with the standard toolbars. That is, you don't see the standard pull-down menus that you'd typically see with the previous versions of Excel. Instead, you'll see the snazzy little interface here dubbed the ribbon. The ribbon is a dramatic departure from the old way of selecting commands. Instead of having to drill into multiple levels of toolbars to find the command that you need, the ribbon brings out the most useful commands out into the open, allowing you to find your favorite commands and even discover some new ones that you never knew existed. Let's take a few moments to explore the ribbon a bit and get familiar with some of the new terminology that Microsoft throws our way. The ribbon is made up of 4 basic components: tabs, groups, command buttons, and dialog launchers. Tabs contain groups of commands that are loosely related to core tasks. In fact, it helps to think of each tab as a theme. For example, under the Review tab, you'll see that the commands there help you review and protect your spreadsheet. Consider the commands: spell check, protect the workbook, and track changes. It's clear that the theme of the Review tab is protecting the integrity of your spreadsheet. Now we'll go through each tab in a moment, but one more thing about tabs. There are 2 types of tabs: standard tabs, which you see here, and contextual tabs, which we'll talk about in a minute. Groups contain sets of commands that are related by tasks that fall under the umbrella of that tab's core task. For example, under the Formulas tab, you will see a group called Formula Auditing. This group contains commands that are designed to help you audit your formulas. Now, each group contains command buttons. These command buttons are objects that you click in order to select the command. Some command buttons, like the Wrap Text button, directly perform an action. Other command buttons, like the Table button on the Insert tab, activate dialog boxes. These dialog boxes allow you to walk through a process in which to perform some action. Now, although some commands are found in submenus like the Pay Special command button, these are command buttons nonetheless. Finally, there are dialog launchers. These are buttons located in the lower right corner of certain groups. Clicking on any one of these activates a dialog box containing the full spectrum of options for a given group. For example, click the dialog launcher for the font group and you'll get the Format Cells dialog box. Now, those of you who have used previous versions of Excel will note that most of these dialog launchers simply activate the old familiar dialog boxes, giving you a nostalgic way to do things. Close that dialog box out. Now take a look up here in the upper left-hand corner of Excel. This Office icon is new to Excel 2007, and it's technically not part of the ribbon per se, but it's very much something new. The Office button activates a pull-down menu containing all of the higher-level Excel commands such as Open, Save, Print, and Close. You'll also find the Excel Options dialog box here, allowing you to customize Excel's program settings, and we'll talk about the Excel Option box later in this lesson. Let's go ahead and close this out. Let's talk a little bit about each tab. By default, Excel exposes 7 standard tabs for your use: the Home tab, Insert tab, Page Layout, Formulas, Data, Review, and View. You may find that you'll have an Add-ins tab, and this is a remnant of any add-ins that you may have had in Excel 2003. In Excel 2007, add-ins are put into their own tab. So for example, I have an add-in called Flash Paper. But if you don't have an add-in, or you didn't have an add-in in Excel 2003, you won't see this particular tab. This is not a standard tab. The Home tab. Now remember when I told you the commands found in each tab are loosely related to each other or have a theme? Well, in the Home tab, the theme is basically commands that you use a lot. Not really an impressive theme, but it's a useful one. You see, Microsoft wanted to create a central place to go when working with commands that are often used. This place, as it turns out, is the Home tab. In this tab, you'll find commands that deal with common actions like formatting, sorting, copying, inserting and deleting columns and rows. The Insert tab. The theme of the Insert tab is basically creating embedded objects. That is to say, the Insert tab contains commands that allow you to create objects which are inserted or embedded onto a spreadsheet. For example, charts and pivot tables. These are both objects that are embedded or placed onto your spreadsheet. Other commands that you'll find here are links, word art, and headers and footers. The Page Layout tab. The theme of the Page Layout tab is configuring the look of your spreadsheet. The Page Layout tab contains commands that allow you to determine how your spreadsheet looks both on screen and when printed. The commands that you'll find here are colors, effects, background, orientation, scaling, and other sheet formatting options. The Formulas tab. Want to take a guess at what the theme of the Formulas tab is? That's right, formulas. This tab contains commands that help you define, control, and audit formulas. Here you'll find a full library of available Excel functions, for example, the financial functions or the logical functions, any text functions. Also, you'll find tools that'll help you trace and audit your formulas. The Data tab. The theme of the Data tab is interaction with data and data sources. The commands that you'll find here enable you to integrate with external data sources such as text files, access databases, and even the web. You'll also find commands that group, sort, and validate the data sets in your spreadsheet. The Review tab. With commands such as spell check, protect sheet, protect workbook, and track changes, it's obvious that the theme of the Review tab is protecting data integrity. The View tab. Now the View tab is all about controlling the way you visually interact with your spreadsheet on the screen. The commands that you'll find here allow you to zoom in and out, freeze columns and rows, view multiple workbooks at one time, and control the view state of your spreadsheet. Now, don't be alarmed if you don't catch every single command that I just listed here. As you go through the series, you'll quickly become familiar with each tab, so just relax a little bit and let's start talking about contextual tabs. Contextual tabs are special types of tabs that appear only when a particular object is selected, for example, a pivot table or a chart or a shape. Now these tabs contain commands that are specific to that selected object. To see a contextual tab in action, let's add a shape to an empty spreadsheet. I'm going to go up to the Insert tab, click on Shapes, click on Rectangles. It's going to turn my mouse into a cross. I'm going to click on the spreadsheet anywhere. Now a rectangle appears. Well, it looks like a square, but it's supposed to be a rectangle. But you'll also notice that there's a new tab up top called Format. Now this Format tab is not a standard tab, it's a contextual tab. And this tab has all the commands that it takes to allow you to format this particular shape. If I click anywhere else on the spreadsheet, that tab disappears. If I click back on the shape, the tab reappears. That's a contextual tab that's associated with this particular shape or associated with shapes in general.